And I don't know how this thing works, and there's nobody here to help me. I'm live. Hello, everybody. Right, I'm here. Who's there? I had a shave. This is my second time on YouTube. And I have nothing much to say because I have fucking too much to say. I don't know where to start. I'm a very arrogant asshole. Let me see. How's that? Is that better? There you go. My beard's less. My head is bald. And there's nobody there. Anybody there? There's nobody there. How am I supposed to learn how to do this thing? I suppose you need to have personality. Oh, that doesn't work. What about this? Live when cameras are on them. I'm live when I'm in front of people. Apparently, okay. I have opinions on absolutely everything, and I can't think of anything at the moment to say. That's probably because there's nobody watching. Try talking to yourself instead of in your head, actually talking to yourself live, and then watching yourself on the screen and looking at plants and files and paintings and stuff on the wall. And I want to do this. Shall I do this? Can I do this? You big fat cheek. So, if there's anybody out there, there's something here saying, say something. Tell me what to talk about. His mother saw him for the first time. Imagine you're in a hospital or at home having a birth. 9 months you waited. 9 months of back pain, a little bit of vomiting, a bit of diarrhea. Probably a husband wanting to fuck you because he likes fucking you with a fat stomach. With a human being in it, he's probably thinking he's having incest. Leave then. Or maybe if they gave him a big, franchise for some chains of hotels in Indonesia or somewhere. He could do with some more golf courses, couldn't he? Or hotels. Something to give the children who are all hanging on for the money they hope will come their way one day. Is inherited. I mean, my father wasn't very bright, but he was creative. He's a good photographer. But he wasn't very bright. He flunked everything. My mother's not very bright either. So that makes me not bright. Unless I'm from my grandparents. Or unless what your parents go through is not genetically passed on to you. Or what your parents are. If they are sick. So I'm actually talking to myself. No. Apparently, if nobody's watching me now, they can watch me later. Oh, fuck. So they're listening to this rant. I did have three about Donald. The first is his tantrum at losing. It's a bit like the child on Christmas Day upset that he didn't get all the presents he wanted. And so he starts throwing a tantrum and starts throwing the presents into the garbage and out the window, stamping his little foot. So he's a petulant child, and that's Donald Trump, petulance. That's one thought. And I had two other thoughts. What were they? Oh, God, that's the trouble with getting old. You fucking forget things. Know what I mean, Jimmy? Poor old Donald. I feel sorry for the fucker. I mean, imagine waking up every day and you look in the mirror and you go, oh, shit, it's me again. How the hell am I going to be Joe Biden? You've got to be clever to be Joe Biden. You've got to be dedicated. You've got to be unselfish, and you've got to be kind. And you've got to want to help, And you think your job description is leader. Because some people are leaders and some are not. And the leaders are leaders. Donald's not a leader. So he wakes up every morning saying, oh, what am I going to do? Every morning I got to wake up and I'm Donald. Even Melania doesn't know who I am. She thinks I'm this other geezer that I'm not, that I have to act I am. Status from the money. The more money I have, the more status I have. One thing you can't buy is IQ or decency. Or as Russell would say, kindness. Can't see Mr. Trump being kind, weak, pathetic, kind. What kind of quality is kind? Nobody admires a kind person, do they? Yeah, they admire tough, big men with red ties. Red, the color of the vagina hanging as a phallic symbol from his neck. What does that say about his relationships with certain women? I wonder. I had 3 thoughts about Donald. One was that he was a petulant child. Oh, the other was a beached whale, thrashing about in the water, trying to get back to Trump Tower, but he's stuck on a beach, thrashing away. Finally beached. He's got himself beached. And the third one, which was the really funny one, I've fucking forgotten. Donald Trump. Well, of course, the fact that so many people voted for him doesn't say anything about him. A lot of people have made that mistake. I mean, he did get 70 million people voting for him. So therefore, he has to be great. No leader of the Republican Party has ever had that many votes. I think what's happened is, in the past, people who used to vote for the Republican Party didn't always vote for the Republican Party because there wasn't anybody wicked enough. This is my friend Santi Ponsetti is phoning me up. Hello, Santi.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm on YouTube at the moment, if you want to watch.
You are in YouTube?
I'm on YouTube and I'm talking to you at this moment in time. I have been talking about Donald Trump. There's nobody watching, but they might be able to see me next week because apparently you can rewind or you can look up stuff from the past. So at the moment, I'm talking to myself.
Just typing Peter.
Peter Staples.
Let me see.
And you can see how old I have become. I'm sitting in my flat in Pla de Palau.
No, I've seen you in Facebook.
Am I on Facebook as well?
I saw you when you
that was
start on the Facebook.
Yeah, that was last week.
And I saw your face. Yes.
Yeah, but now I'm on YouTube.
You are on YouTube. Well, let me see.
You have to type in YouTube. Did you get my?
No.
I've sent you the book to your email.
Yeah, it's santi.ponsetti.
santi.ponsetti@gmail.com.
Gmail.com, yes.
Well, if you haven't got it, it's because it's downloading. It's a whole book. Well, it's half the book. There's 2 books. There's book 1 and book 2. Book 1 is finished, edited, the works, and book 2 is now with the editor. So I have two books, 2 different books, and they all go in the same book. So the first one's called book 1 and the second one's called book 2, but they're actually both part of book 1. It's just that the same subject is being dealt with in two different ways.
YouTube, I am in YouTube now.
Type in Peter Staples. I've now been on for 13 minutes and 41 seconds. It must be a Catalan version. How can you not see me on YouTube?
No, I don't know why you are not.
I need new teeth. What?
Wait.
There you are.
Now I see you.
Hello.
Now I see you.
Suddenly I am aware of your existence because you are watching me. You see, I'm like Donald Trump. I need people to watch me.
Well, are you happy? Are you happy about the results of the UN?
Well, I've just been talking about that. I've just been talking about that when you phoned. There were two things. There were three things that came to mind. Two of them I remembered, and the third one I can't remember, which was the really good one. But the two I remember, the two images. The first one is the image of a petulant girl or boy of about 4 years old on Christmas Day, not happy with his presents, throwing a tantrum and throwing the presents out of the house and into the rubbish bin and screaming that he didn't get what he wanted. That was the first image I have of him when he realized he'd lost. And the second image is of a beached whale. He was okay as long as he was in the ocean, but now he's stuck on the beach thrashing around, a great big fat whale. And so I see him either as a beached whale or I saw him as a petulant child throwing out the toys from the pram. But the third image was much better, and I can't remember. I did a little thing on him having a low IQ and having to look in the mirror in the morning and go, oh, fuck. President of the United States, millions of pounds in the bank, my name on buildings all over the planet, golf courses, a beautiful wife, children who think the sun shines out of my back pocket. And I have a low IQ. So where do I get a low IQ? Do I inject it with some deodorant or I don't know. What does one have to do to get some IQ? What do you have to do to get IQ? Money didn't work. Intelligence, I mean, all these hotels, wife. I'm president. I am president of the United States of America, which is the most powerful country in the world. And every morning I get out of bed and I have to remind myself that I'm actually Donald Trump. But I don't know who the fuck he is because I don't have an IQ. Where do I get an IQ? Please, somebody. Won't anybody help me? I mean, do you know what I'm going through here? It's not nice. I mean, how would you like to be me? You want to swap? You want to be me? Do you know what I have to go through every day? And this problem of the low IQ, this is not going to go away. I'm stuck with this forever. I'm not even clever enough to pretend that I'm not stupid. I think you can inject.
Peter, I am very happy because I discovered something that I didn't know.
Tell me.
Kamala Harris.
Yes. She likes putting people in prison.
I didn't know that lady. I knew few things about her, almost nothing. And suddenly I discovered somebody who is going to be really important in our future.
No, she's a problem, I'm afraid. And me, I'm known as a pessimist, and yet despite my pessimism, I have achieved an enormous number of things. But I'm never satisfied because I need things to be better. And Kamala Harris has a flaw. And it's a rather important one, and it's going to fuck up things again. Her flaw, from my perspective, is that she believes people are responsible for their behavior. So she has no problem putting people in prison, and she comes from a good place. But her knowledge of social responsibility, free will, and these things, I'm afraid she's all are. If you remember when Clinton president, the reason I didn't like him was because when he was governor of, I think it was Arkansas, if I remember that far back, there was a guy who had the mental IQ of an 11-year-old, and Clinton, when he was governor, had to pardon this guy or have him executed. He was in prison for a long time. He'd lost all the appeals. Eventually, he gets to the point where they're now going to definitely do him in. Clinton has to sign the pardon paper. But the trouble was, the election was coming up. So he didn't. And this man with the mind of an 11-year-old was duly executed. And that's when Mr. Clinton lost my support. And of course, most people have forgotten about that. They all saw him as a kind of JFK. You know, they'd had to endure Bush, Nixon, and Blair. No, Blair. There you go. That's a Freudian slip. Nixon and Reagan. So when Clinton came, they thought they had themselves, you know, somebody nice. Except he went and killed an 11-year-old, a person who was effectively an 11-year-old. So he doesn't get my vote. And neither does Kamala Harris, because she was the state prosecutor in California, was she? And apparently she did a great job. And she wasn't too happy with the behavior of some black people. Because some black people bring it upon themselves, you know. They're not all being victims of white supremacists.
Well, you know, Peter, I'm going to the United States once a year, every year.
Yep.
Because of this sort of employment of sitting in the Columbia University. And Columbia University is very, very advanced. Columbia University has always been left university. Columbia is the university where a lot of troubles were going on during the 60s and the 70s, and it's a progressive, it's considered a progressive university.
Yes, the hotbed of nice people. Basically, these liberals, it's a real hotbed of nice people, making all the other bad people feel bad about themselves.
But when you are in there, you discover that not so much. Even the Barnard School. The Barnard School is, imagine that inside of part of the Columbia University is the Barnard School, and the Barnard School.
What is this school? Barnard? What's that?
It's a school inside of the Columbia University, only for ladies. Only for ladies, and a lot of good teachers and a lot of very leftist teachers, even Marxists, are teaching there. But it's a school for ladies. Then it's something quite complicated to understand what could be left in the United States, because it's really complicated. But the shape of the whole thing, it looks much wonderful when you listen a lady like Kamala Harris talking about the role of her family, the role of her kids, the role of the other families. You know, it's another language, it's another culture. The discovery, because I know how it's been chosen Biden, and how the poor Bernie Sanders, and the Bernie Sanders is also, well, let's not talk about him. But
I like Bernie Sanders.
Me, I like too. It's very sympathetic to all my feelings and ideas, but it's also not wonder. And suddenly you discover something for me new. Yes, of course, it's been general of California and so from San Francisco, and I don't know what other big positions he had in the government, in the state government. But as a person in the world, she was not. And now, in few seconds, she became a person of the world. Maybe not 100% of your preferences, maybe not the one you were going to choose for, maybe whatever. But they all shape it different. Imagine somebody like even Biden itself.
Yeah, but the problem is too deep for it to be fixed by a nice person who gets 10% of it right and 10% of it wrong. I mean, Donald got 100% wrong. He broke the world record in getting things wrong. I don't think a single human being, even Putin, gets more things right than Donald Trump. I mean, even fucking, what's his name? All the tyrants in the world get more things right than Donald Trump got.
Yes, Peter, it's very difficult to beat Trump in any of the bad things you can imagine. Nobody can beat Trump.
But the point I want to make, is that we've been watching America.
Is the paramount of all of the shit.
But the problem is that comparing one bad person with another, comparing one person who gets things wrong and is a bad person, and comparing it with the person who is a nice person who gets things wrong, is that they're still getting bloody thing wrong. So they're either a lot of wrongness is going on or a little wrongness is going on. So to compare one wrong with another wrong, I understand, the hope is attached to the one who is nice. And we're all hoping that Biden and Kamala Harris will be the new broom. But the problem is there's a fundamental problem which none of them address ever. And they're not addressing it anywhere for that matter. Religion is not being addressed. Hierarchies are not being addressed. There are serious issues that are not being addressed. So if Kamala Harris and Biden manages to go for the next 12 years, which is the optimum amount, after 12 years, he'll probably be a Republican who will just carry on doing the wrong thing, but more wrong. Meanwhile, a little wrong is still a serious wrong. You got 20% of people who are in prison come from America, and America has only got 4% of the world's population. So why are they in prison? Why do they put people in prison? Because they believe that a human being is responsible for its behavior. And this is not correct. A human being is not responsible for his behavior, but the entire world thinks that I am wrong and that they are right. They've been brainwashed since they were little that they are responsible for their behavior. It's not a taught thing. It's apparently a genetic thing. We've all got it. We got it from God, who exists. So there are fundamental problems with the way we behave. And America is the worst at it. It's without question the worst. I'd rather have Russia than America.
Yes, but it's like this.
I mean, the old Russia, not the Stalin Russia, the Russia post-Stalin, I would rather have than America. I'd rather have the collective in control, even if it's corrupt, than have the individuals in control. Because the individuals is the abnegation of what it is to be a human being. We're not isolated from each other. We're all part of each other. You are part of me, I am part of you. I'm not going to judge you.
This is something that in America,
this is going to be the subject of my chat show. That's what this is the subject of.
If you find somebody there that thinks in the way you are thinking, it's very rare. It's a person strange. It's a strange person. Very strange. Because the majority thinks the opposite. And it thinks the opposite so much that 70 million of them vote straight to this bunch of shit which is Trumpist and its policy.
What do you think the opposite? Think the opposite of what? Are you understand what you're saying?
Million.
What?
70 million. 70
No, you
billion.
said that people think the opposite, or they do the opposite, or something. What? Make it more clear. I don't follow you.
The other day, was talking the Borrell, Ramon Borrell. You know who is? It's a Spanish politician, full of shit, but it's a Spanish politician from the Socialist Party who is now holding the post of foreign relations of the European Union. And Borrell was saying, if now we can start talking about the new relationship in between the States and the European Union, and the States goes back to the organizations like some of the agencies of the United Nations, and if he goes back to the Paris Treaty, only with that, the world is going to look different.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Gonna
It'll be less bad. It will be definitely less bad. It's no question.
less bad. Yeah. And we are in a situation,
Which is
we
great.
all are in a situation, and then we have to applaud and use the less bad positions.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about climate change. I'm more concerned about climate change, and I'm more concerned.
Yes,
Donald
yes,
Trump
I
was a
think-
diversion. He was amusement. We're going to kind of miss him in a way. I mean, every day we have clown, and he was the best clown that I have ever seen. I have to tell you, I don't know of a single clown that gave me more entertainment than Donald Trump,
Peter,
except for Robin Williams, perhaps. And John Cleese is quite funny.
Peter, don't cry me, because at the moment I am full of tears. You
Full of
can't
what?
imagine what I am full of tears.
Tears.
You can't imagine. Eh?
Tears. Crying.
Yes.
Why?
Right,
Why are you
right.
full of tears?
Yes, because listen, what I am doing is to make the first number. The people who run business in Barcelona, and they can't pay taxes, they can't pay rents, they can't pay things because the business, most of them, business that they were going normal or good all the time for years, and now they can't pay taxes, and the state doesn't allow them to retard the payment of the taxes, and they can't pay rent, and the owners, the landlords, they don't accept a negotiation about lawyers. Then I am surrounded by people crying, and we are looking for ways of financial solutions to these people. Then and none of them are against the system or against the business or against the nothing, or they are for the climate crisis, and they are not for nothing. They are just doing their little business. Like one is selling furniture, another one is doing courses for.
And hang on, and at the same time, you tell me they're not against the system.
They are not. They are not absolutely not against the system. They are just people.
Victims.
On their heads, it falls a kind of bomb, a strange bomb, which they understand that.
They're victims. They're victims.
They're absolutely victims of the situation.
But why don't they want to change the situation? Why are they prepared to accept a system that has made them into victims? Why?
Well,
Is it the Catholic Church? Is it the Catholic Church?
Yes, when they explain to you their situation, the last thing you are thinking is about, I am happy that you are in this situation because you choose this system, and now fuck you because you have chosen the wrong way of living. But the thing is that they are living in a way, normal way, doing their business, something small, not belonging to big chains. politicians or nothing, just people, two associates that they decided to run a shop or to run a little business, and that now they have to pay all the taxes.
But it sounds to me you don't want to be too critical of these people. You prefer to see them as losers, victims, suffering.
The first thing I am trying to do is to discover what is absolutely real and urgent, and what is a little bit of gesticulation, because there is a lot of gesticulation also in this situation. And what I am trying is just to discover what is urgent and emergency for tomorrow morning, and what is a little bit of gesticulation to see if they can.
What is this word? Gesticulation? What is this word? What does that mean?
I mean that exaggerating or overacting.
Oh, we mustn't do that.
People, some of the situation they're explained like worse than they are. Then what I am trying to do is to discover exactly what is real and urgent and for tomorrow morning, and trying to find ways of financing these gaps, because in most of the cases are just gaps. It's just in between.
So these people are coming to you for help, for information.
No, they come to the trade chamber, and I am as a volunteer. I am working for the trade chamber to help them, because the people who work usually in the chamber, in the wave of people that need some information, they need some advice, they need some knowledge of what's the last, what are the last regulation, and what they can do to solve the problems. Then the chamber has, the trade chamber, of course, has his doors open to all this situation, and they have workers there. Then there are enough for the normal situation, but not enough to answer all these people. When they ask us if we could help them to make a first advice, and to distribute the different claims to different departments inside of the chamber. No, this is a little help, and we don't have to do very much except to listen and to say, well, then if I understand you, what you need is how you can negotiate with the landlord. Okay, we have a department specialized on that, and they're going to give you advice on that. Or what you need is short-time credit or loans to solve these short-term problems.
Let me interrupt here, because you have their lives completely. Using the system in the same way as they did then, suppliers and customers and advertising and blah, blah, blah. In other words, instead of trying to reproduce the system as it was a year ago, perhaps they should think of a different approach altogether. Maybe they don't need the apartment they're living in. Maybe the business they were doing deserves to be fucked anyway. Maybe they can live much cheaper if they go and live in Granny's house up in the Empor down somewhere and grow some vegetables. I mean, I don't know. I think this is an opportunity for not just here, because in England they have the same problem, in France and in the whole wide world, except probably China. We need to rethink what we're doing. And this pandemic is nothing more than an opportunity. It's a warning shot across the bows from nature. You know, it's saying you cannot carry on believing that you're in charge of the planet. It really, nobody wants to write about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. They just want to go on as if man is made by God with dominion over the planet, and that somehow we're going to solve the problems of fucking the planet. And we are not, because we don't believe that that we are part of nature, that we are actually somehow separate from nature. So there's us here and there's nature there, and then what we do is up to us, and what happens to nature is up to us. And it's simply not the case, because we are actually nature. At the moment, mankind is behaving like the cancer, in the body of nature, like our own cancer cells living in our own bodies. And the time the cancer has killed the body, has killed it. And this is exactly what human beings are doing. They're going to be killing themselves as they're killing the planet. This fixing the pandemic is not going to solve anything. Getting business back to where it was a year ago is not going to solve anything. We're going to be where we were a year ago. Big deal. Where were we a year ago? A year ago, we were looking at the abyss. We've been given until 2030. That's 10 years. I'm 80 years old. Imagine. I've seen this thing start. We became aware of the world coming to an end because of oil running out. Well, the oil didn't run out, but the world is running out. The human being parts, a different attitude.
It's something very human.
It's not being human. We're being anti-human.
When you change? When you really make change?
Yes, when you're no longer focused on yourself. When the individual is not what it's about.
When you don't have another solution. When you don't have nothing else, absolutely nothing else, you change. It's not you try to repeat your own mistakes all the time. Then
it depends what you mean by something else. If you mean earning a living, then I have to disagree with you, because every time I went bust, I went and did the same thing again and made money. Always legally, always legitimately, always morally, going to sleep well at night, never fucked anybody. On the contrary, I was the one who was getting fucked all the time. I don't need to hurt anybody to make money. I made restaurants. That's what I did. I made restaurants and I converted fixed apartments that were rotten and needed fixing. So every time I needed money, I went and did the same bloody thing. I didn't need to change the system. I didn't need to change me.
You know what happens with the people that they run restaurants at the moment in Barcelona.
Right now is the best opportunity to open a restaurant in Barcelona. There's no question about it. In the next 6 months,
how you are going to open a restaurant? How?
There are certain restaurants in Barcelona. Let me tell you, this is my expertise. This is what I know about. There are certain restaurants in Barcelona, and there's probably more than we realize, that need to go bust because they don't deserve to be open. That's the first thing to be said. The second thing is that the situation we are in now is an opportunity for people to do things that they probably wouldn't have seen but for the pandemic. It is a new broom. It is an opportunity. If you see it as an opportunity, you will find that you can make more money out of restaurants. Well, you can make a living out of restaurants instead of having a chain of 10, 15, 20, which goes bust. And I can name you the groups in Barcelona who have all been, riding the wave, the boom wave of restaurants the last 20 years, even 30 years. In London, it's 30 since the early 90s. We're getting back to family-run restaurants. We're getting back to a restaurant which is a way of life for the proprietor, where the regulars are regulars, where the people who work have a job security for 30, 40, 50 years. These restaurants deserve to succeed. They want to use organic. They want to use local seasonal produce. They should survive. All the others, they deserve to go bust. Fuck them. We don't need them.
But at the moment, either the ones or the others are all shut.
Probably because their rents are too high. Probably because they got complacent with the staff who think they can do 6, 7 shifts a week instead of 10, 12 shifts a week. Traditionally, restaurants is a profession. It's a vocation. It's got to be seen as somebody working as a doctor or a teacher. It's a vocation. It's probably the single most important vocation we have. People have to eat and they have to sleep. Everything else comes second. And restaurants that feed people with love, where it's a vocation, they don't mind working 60 hours a week or 55 hours a week. They're therefore free of the system of business. Is a completely wrong way of looking at it. Working in a restaurant is a joy, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure. You become friends with your staff, you become friends with the staff, becomes family. They're not even staff. You know, I can name you the successful restaurants in Barcelona who are making more money now during the pandemic than they did before, when they're allowed to be open, that is. People are flocking to them. An extraordinary thing has happened with restaurants in the last 9 months. The restaurants that people respect, the restaurants where they enjoy themselves as human beings, are the ones they're now going back to. They're not flooding back to the chain restaurants. They're going to the local family-run restaurant, which they probably neglected in the last 3, 4, 5, 10 years. My restaurant in London is more packed now than it's ever been. The restaurants that I go to in Barcelona, which are the family-run ones, the small ones, they are all doing very well, thank you. Because those are the ones who have loyal customers who keep coming back to them. So they've got the right values. So if you want to make money out of anything, get the values sorted and you'll find the public will come. Don't make crap clothes. Don't import clothes from China. Make them yourself.
Now they can come.
There's going to be no more tourists. You have to look around the neighborhood to see what asset do you have in your neighborhood, in your province, in your city.
You don't have neighborhoods. You don't have nothing. You are shut down because of the law.
No, the people are still, the people who make a community are still in the barrios in Barcelona. They just haven't behaved. They haven't started. Do you remember when Franco, hang on, I can remind you, when Franco was kicked out, well, Franco died, and you were in charge in Barcelona at the end of the 70s, working for the town hall. You told me a story of how incredible it was to discover that people in Barcelona were growing vegetables inside their apartments. In a bedroom, it would be where they would be growing tomatoes. Because under Franco, they had to find a way to survive. And so they found solutions. Allotments. Everybody should have an allotment. We should not be importing food. We should not be polluting the planet by eating stuff from another part of the bloody world. Why? Why? We got food here. There's enough land in Spain to feed everybody. 96% of the land in Spain has been turned over to non-organic produce. Fertilizers and chemicals are fucking the topsoil, and we're getting used to eating strawberries out of season. Eating meat that's coming from Scotland and salmon. Why? We should be eating local food. We should be behaving in our communities. We should be loving each other. We should be, if you like, a modern version of hunter-gatherers. That's what we should be doing. But we're not doing that. What we are doing is behaving like a bunch of independent, self-centered, egocentric believers in free will, autonomy, made by God, not nature. And so, of course, we are fucking the planet. And we'll have Donald Trump in power or a nice person like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's going to do a little bit of ointmenting. You know, it's a little bit of painkillering. He's not getting to the goddamn source of the problem. And the source of the problem is the church and the state. That's the problem. It goes back to Hammurabi and Abraham. We've had 4,000 years of brainwashing everybody, everywhere on the planet. And no wonder we're in this goddamn mess. And the only people that I have found in the last 3-4 years doing this research, which is why I'm now on this YouTube thing, are the indigenous people of the world. There's 300 million of them. And then there's a whole bunch of really indigenous, the real, the ones from the Kalahari, the real hunter-gatherers who are still living according to the same principles, where the tribe, if you like, the collective, and the individuals in the collective, they have a mutualistic, symbiotic relationship between the two parts. There's no domination of one part over the other. And with communism and capitalism, you have the communists dominating with their collective idea, but no individualism. And in America, we had only individualism and no collectivism. Well, you can't break the molecule from the atom. You'll have an explosion if you do. So what you need is to bring the two sides back together. And in America, they're talking about unity at the moment a lot. It's all about unity, unity, unity. The real problem is there could be a civil war. It's the elephant in the room. America could have itself another civil war. They're even talking about the last civil war again, as if it hadn't ever gone away. So there's a real risk in America of civil unrest, guerrilla warfare that won't be the same as a real proper war where they kill each other in millions. But I can see guerrilla warfare all over America. I can see it quite easily. So Biden's job at the moment is to bring the two sides together. Well, how are you supposed to bring the collective on the one side, which apparently is what the Democratic Party is, and the individualisms on the other side, which apparently is what the Trump side is? So the countries become polarized between the collective and the individual. And yet, paradoxically, America isn't really a communist country or a socialist country. It's also a capitalist country, but still it's perceived as being the opposite. Well, the truth of the matter is the solution lies in both sides coming together and living together, because to have a mutualistic symbiotic relationship means both sides benefit. The collective benefits and the individual collective benefits. And that's where we got to go. But nobody's talking about it, which is why now I'm on YouTube, so that I can now say it. And I have to tell you, today is the very first time that I did a Peter Staples rant. I just did it now. You've been on the receiving end of it. So I'm very curious to find out whether what I'm now doing, which a lot of my friends have been telling me I should do, but I'm far too fucking shy and nervous to do it. Well, I'm now actually doing it. Maybe I need to have somebody listen. Maybe I need to have a bit of a broken down record. I reckon I'm going to be bashing this idea that we don't have a will free of genetic and environmental programming until people are sick and tired of hearing it. Well, they go to church every Sunday, don't they? Listening to the same fucking lies that is preached from the pulpit in churches all over the place, saying man is autonomous and that he is separate from nature and that we can have dominion over the planet, and it's just bollocks. It simply is not true, but we live according to this lie. Well, how can we be surprised if we live in such a way that we destroy the very thing that we are part of, which is to be part of nature and each other? You know, who's bothering to talk about Carl Jung anymore? You can't even hear Carl Jung discussed in psychiatric courses in most universities. The idea of a collective unconscious is anti what we have all been brainwashed into believing. We are not autonomous. You're not just my brother. You are actually part of me. I am actually part of you. I am responsible for your behavior, not you. You are responsible for my behavior. And do we think like this? No. I'm going to have a fatwa on me. Can you imagine?
Well, Peter, I am going to go to
Oh dear, I bent your ear.
All that it's very today for tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been talking about it for 40 years, 50 years, you know, so it's time. I hope you enjoyed the book. It's the first part of a two-part.
You send it to my address, no?
I sent it this afternoon. My lovely assistant sent it to your email. So I will check. It should have gone. Can you check again?
Yes.
I mean, it's a lot of pages.
Maybe it takes some time to.
It's 100 and the book one is about 110 pages. And normal 6x9 book. And the second one is.
It's not arrived yet, but.
He must have sent it. Maybe put a capital S or a capital P or maybe 2 T's. I gave it to him. Well, we'll send it to you again tomorrow.
Okay.
And
Okay.
It's all about stone skipping in front of the Maritime.
I am going to read it and I call you when I am through.
whilst you're on the phone, can you tell me when the when the restrictions are lifted? I mean, is it this weekend or is it another couple of weeks or what?
No. They put another couple of weeks. Yesterday, put 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks from when? From this weekend or from today? Yesterday.
From yesterday.
So 2 more weeks. And what is the daily number?
A couple of weekends more.
What's the daily number in Spain at the moment?
It's almost 500. It's too high.
Not the deaths.
No. The infected by 100,000 people.
100.
Yeah, 100,000. Yes.
A day.
500.
A week,
Yeah,
a month, a year. What?
It's going down. It seems, but nobody believes it very much. That it seems it's going down a little bit down in Catalonia, and it's going to be a bit down in Madrid.
Yeah, but what is the national number per day at the moment of people becoming infected?
Around 500.
500 people a day.
No, 500 people infected for 1,000 inhabitants.
500 out of 1,000 people.
100,000 people.
500 out of 100,000. But yes, but don't you get a daily? We get a daily number in England. In England, we get a daily number of how many people were infected in the previous 24 hours.
Yes, here too. And here, I know the figure that they use as a tax of reproduction, which it should be lower than 1. It means that 1 person.
Yeah, I know those numbers, but what I'm really concerned with for the moment is the first number. The first number, before we get to the second, the first number is how many people every day are getting infected. In England, it's running at 20,000 people a day at the moment. Round about 200 to 300 deaths a day. And that's why they keep them locked up until that number comes down. Obviously, the transmission rate is going to be under 1.
Here they consider 3 numbers. One is the one I gave you before. Then it's 500 and should be less than 100.
Yes.
And the other is
that's out of 100,000.
Of production, which should be much below
1.
than 1.
Yep.
And it's in Catalonia for the 3 or 4 days, the latest 3 or 4 days, it's around 0.97 and then it's 0.93.
Yes, about where it was in May and June.
And the other number which is relevant is the tax of saturation of the hospitals.
Yes. And the deaths, and what's the deaths number? Is your deaths number?
People go to the hospital few days after they got infected. And if they got infected a week ago, the probability that some of the ones they got infected, instead of being enough to rest in the house, they have to go to the hospital. This is a relevant number. At the moment, the such around 30%, which is very, very high.
So it could be more than 2 weeks.
At the moment, it seems that they say 2 weeks. Well, let's see, because as these numbers change, they don't know why, but they change in between one country and the other. That in some countries, it's been very easy to make the inflection of the curve, and in other countries it takes longer to make the inflection direction of the curve. Instead of going all the time up, it's going a little bit down.
Well, you heard this, you heard last night that there's been a breakthrough with the vaccines.
Yes, but yeah, this is a out of hope on that, but it's going to be effective in probably in 6 months or 7 months.
No. The Pfizer one, they will start.
Yes, the Pfizer one, they're going to get into production.
That is for the mass. That is for the mass inoculation, but for people, for frontline workers, very old people, they're in very limited numbers because they can't produce so much. They're talking about three, four. No, they are doing it now. 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, some people will be getting the injection.
Yeah, but
the masses will have to wait. The masses will be waiting 3-6 months, I suspect.
45,000 people altogether in the whole world. This is the ones that they have been treated by these vaccines. That
yes, that's right.
In the 90% is safe.
That's right. Okay, so we saw the same.
It's safe in 100%, but it's effective in the 90%.
Well, I'm still going to be super careful. Are you being super careful?
Yeah.
I'm being super careful.
Yeah,
I had a bit of a scare. I had a bit of a scare 3 weeks ago when my assistant, his mother, was found to be positive. But in the week that she was waiting for the results, he came to the office three times that week. And strictly speaking, he should not have come, even though she hadn't had the result. The fact that she had a symptom, which made her go and have a test, should have been enough for him not to come. So I was a bit upset for 10 days. I had to wait to see whether he had it. He turned out to be positive. So he was seeing me when he was positive. And it meant that I had to wait. And I waited, and it's been more than 3 weeks. According to Blanca, I am 99% clear. Of course, I'm not going to have a test. My paranoid nature won't permit me to go through the hell of waiting for a decision as to whether I'm going to live or die. Thank you very much. I'd rather do it in the comfort of my own drawing room. Yes, so that there is light at the end of the tunnel for the pandemic, but not much light at the end of the tunnel given my age, because whether I die by pandemic, I will be, unfortunately, fucking off soon. Another reason why is YouTube. I want to have what I'm thinking to be recorded.
Okay, we're gonna see.
So now it is 1 hour and 3 minutes. So I'm over my hour. So whoever shall we say goodbye to the people who've been listening and watching?
I don't know what is the policy of this YouTube. I never did it.
Well, I thought it was complicated. It's not complicated. You don't pay money. There's no forms to fill in. There's no notary to see. There's no lawyer to get involved. There is no bureaucratic machine. There's definitely no technology that you can be confused by. It's, I think, 5 clicks. And if I've written it down where the first click, second click, third click, fourth click, and fifth click. So I can get to 5 clicks. It's when I have to do 34 clicks that I say no. I have an assistant, and he knows how to do clicking. There are people who are experts at clicking. It's a special talent. They're born with it. And but for them, Bill Gates would not have made any money. And they love it. They love the clicking. I can't tell you. There's something about click. They fucking love it. And I, of course, hate it because I'm not 30 years old or less. Or 35 now. Or 40. Soon there won't be anybody like me left who will say, I'm not going to do technology. Anyway, here I am on the technology. And there's 5 clicks. And you can get on it so easy. and then you just talk. And I didn't think I could possibly talk seeing myself as I'm doing it. I've seen myself for 15 years. I'm seeing myself like a total stranger would see me. My nose looks so much bigger.
Have you already got the vaccine of the flu?
No.
You should do it.
Which vaccine?
Vaccine of the flu.
You mean to be on the experiment side?
Huh?
You mean as part of the experiment? The research? The vaccine is not out yet.
No. Besides the coronavirus,
yes,
there are other sicknesses that may affect you if you ever had the coronavirus, or may open the door for a weak resistance against the coronavirus. This is the normal flu, the pneumonia, and things like this, which are not COVID, other things.
You mean like the flu, the winter flu? I should have an injection against the winter flu.
Yes.
It's because if I have the injection against the winter flu and I get coronavirus, I will have the flu part will be resolved. The pneumonia part will be resolved.
Yes.
I'm going to talk to Blanca about that. I'm going to talk to Blanca.
If you get the right vaccine, and if the vaccine works well on you, which is not the 100% cases, it's something that it's.
So let me just understand you. What you're saying is, if I have the vaccine for my flu, which we know can lead to pneumonia, if I get the coronavirus, it won't attack the pneumonia part of me because I've got the vaccine for the pneumonia part.
And also another side.
You mean yes? You mean yes?
Equation, the other side of this equation is that if you get the flu, makes you
more vulnerable to the virus.
Very weak and vulnerable more than ever to the coronavirus.
All right, I'm going to talk to Blanca. If that's true, then I need a few injections. Have you had some inoculation against the flu?
I had because of the national system of health, the public system.
Yeah.
They already gave me the flu, and they are going to give me the 17th. Then in the other week, they're going to give me the pneumonia shot, which is nothing. It's just a little shot on your arm. It's nothing. It doesn't make you.
I'm going to talk to Blanca. I want that. And there's no side effects. There's no risk.
Pardon?
There's no side effects or risk for people our age.
No. Well, at least some people, they have to get some paracetamol or something like Kerocatil or something like this, something very, very soft for one day, and that's all. No.
I don't mind side effects, but I don't want to have something go badly wrong because I'm the exception to the rule.
No.
My lungs at the moment are very weak. I'm having problems breathing at night.
It's better to know.
Yes.
Waiting for the real vaccine. It's better to know that you are not going to be very vulnerable to the normal cold.
Yes,
cold weather,
I think that's very wise. Thank you very much.
And pneumonias and things like this.
Yep. Thank you very much for that. I will definitely organize it.
I am now having tests about the pneumonia I had on February.
You had pneumonia in February?
Double.
Oh my God!
Pneumonia,
oh, you were in risk.
In both sides in February.
Wow.
In February, early February, February the 5th, and the doctor paid very much attention that I was cured, and he makes me attack, a special one in February. That anything at all because it was all mucosity and all dirty, and they couldn't see very much. Then he makes me do a test
to be told whether you're dying or not. Yeah, I know.
When in May it was full of coronavirus everywhere, and then now I have to get another one, and all of it's because I had this pneumonia on February, and the second analyze, the report they make to the doctor, the X-ray people to the doctor make a report to inform, and they said, considering the general situation that this case was produced, what was early February, maybe it was a case of coronavirus. And immediately I went to a laboratory and I did the test of the antigens, which is one of the tests, not if you have now the coronavirus, it is other type of test. They give you the answer of if you had the coronavirus. And I didn't have the coronavirus. Then I had a double pneumonia, both sides in my lungs.
So you're lucky to be alive this year.
But no coronavirus.
You're lucky. You've been lucky.
That's why now, at the end of the month, of the 17th, they're going to give me another vaccine. I got already the one for the for the flu, and now they are going to give me another one for the pneumonia. It has two vaccines different.
Then I should do the same.
I think it's something to recommend.
Yes.
Especially because you can claim to the Social Security that listen, I am a person that is my age, and I had complications many times, and I was a smoker for a long time. And
do you know how much I'm paying for Social Security every month? Can you imagine? 390 euros a week.
A week?
A week. No, I beg your pardon. A month. Oh, did I say a week? A month. 4,000.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's a lot. 4,000 euros a month, a year, something like that. All right, I'm going to switch off.
I don't pay anything. I am retired.
Yes, well, I'm retired, but I'm still working. If I don't work, then I will probably be more.
We're going to talk. Now I have to go.
Okay, I'm going to end this conversation. I have been talking to Santi Ponseti on November the... What is it today, Santi?
It's the 10th.
Today it's on the Tuesday the 10th of November 2020. I am switching off. I've had a nice long conversation with my dear friend Santiago Ponseti, who I have known since 1978 when we rented a house together in Cadaqués, where we had lots of lovely adventures in the prime of our life. And we're now sad that we are no longer having the mystery of being in the prime of our life. We're now looking back and making contact again after all these years. So I'm hoping to introduce you all to my friends that I like and have been neglecting for the last 10 years or so. Every time I get involved with a woman, I tend to neglect my friends. Now that I am with no woman, perhaps now I will stop neglecting my friends. So that is what I will be doing. And if you get into watching me on YouTube, you will slowly get to be introduced to all the characters who have been in and out of my life for the last 70 to 80 years. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. See you soon. Bye, Santi. Bye.